Next, we got ovens. You remember cooking equipment, household cooking equipment? We got a couple on them here, so let's knock them out. These can get tricky. Okay, uh, this all comes out of the table. Remember our table 22055, I want to say it is. It's the big the big ugly. Okay, the big ugly table 22055 looks something like this. Now, one of the key factors with the table when we're talking about demand factors for electric ranges is the notes. Remember all those beautiful, wonderful, amazing notes we have down at the bottom, all seven of them in their infinite glory and wisdom down there at the bottom. They apply to different circumstances and situations, and hopefully at some point there's a little revision here because it can get a little convoluted depending on what you're talking about. Okay, so you really have to double check the notes whenever you're sizing something inside of here. Now, thankfully, not a lot of houses outside of some of the big bougie ones have more than one range, right? Basic houses, one range, sometimes a range and maybe a cooktop and a wall mounted. But you can find all of the rules inside of 22055 here. Okay. Also, inside of 22055 is going to be that two or more single phase ranges supplied by that three phase 4-wire feeder that lives in here too. We're going to do one on that in a little bit. For all intents and purposes, it's the same exact thing for clothes dryers and for ranges as it applies to like an apartment service. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. But let's look at this one specifically. It says a feeder supplying 5 kilowatt wall mounted oven and a 7 kilowatt counter mounted cooktop in a residence shall have a minimum demand factor of what? So when you're going through these, again, you're going to want to take a look at the notes at the bottom. And for this one specifically, note 3 applies, okay? And it's just going to require some reading to figure out which one's going to apply to your situation. That's kind of the frustrating thing about this table. But note 3 says this, over 1 3/4 kilowatt through 8 3/4 kilowatts, so both of our appliances fall in that range, in lieu of the method provided in column C, so that kind of means like instead of, right? Adding the nameplate ratings of all household cooking appliances rated more than 1 3/4 kilowatt, but not more than 8 3/4 kilowatt, and multiplying the sum by the demand factors specified in column A or column B for the given number of appliances shall be permitted. So if you've got a mix of column A and column B appliances, you're going to have to take those at face value. So you're going to have to make sure that you're doing those. This one, they happen to both fall into B, so it makes it pretty easy. Okay, shall be permitted. Where the rating of cooking appliances falls under both A and B, the demand factors for each column are applied to the appliances for that column. Okay, so just make sure you're in the right column. This is less than 3.5 kilowatts here, and column B over here is 3.5 through 8 3/4, and we're going to find that both of ours lie inside of there because we're talking at 5 and a 7. Okay, so all I'm going to do for that is I'm just going to add it up. Okay, I've got a 5 plus a 7 there. They're both column B appliances. That's going to equal 12 kilowatts. Now I have two appliances. Okay, I am in column B as we decided since I am 3.5 through 8 3/4 kilowatt. So that puts me at a demand factor of 65%. Okay, so I'm going to take that 12 kilowatts and I'm going to multiply it by 0.65. Okay, pretty straightforward. Let's do it. 12 times 0.65 equals 7.8 kilowatts is the amount I'm going to use right here for this question. Okay, 7.8. Nailed it! Onward and upward. Remember that? It's a lot of fun. Sometimes kind of once you get the idea, once you've narrowed it down on the notes, that's probably the trickiest part of these calculations is finding what note applies to your specific circumstance.